How do we choose the right partners? In the modern world, the idea of love has been shaped by centuries of romantic ideals. We are told that love is spontaneous, electric, and instant, that from the moment our eyes meet, we'll just know when we've found the one. This belief encourages us to trust our feelings and rely on instinct, as if our hearts always know best. Yet, how many of us have followed those instincts into relationships that didn't last or, worse, caused more pain than joy? The traditional narrative of love paints a picture of uncontrollable passion, a whirlwind that sweeps us off our feet, filling our lives with excitement and drama. But what happens when that whirlwind leaves us spinning in circles, continuously choosing the same kinds of people even when they aren't right for us? It makes us wonder, is the way we choose our partners based less on fate or destiny and more on a set of unconscious patterns deeply rooted in our emotional history, possibly from as far back as childhood? It's time to rethink the instinctual choices we make in love, especially when they lead us to the same frustrating outcomes time and time again. We're constantly encouraged to follow our hearts, to let our feelings guide us toward the ideal partner. It's a compelling idea that suggests the heart knows what it wants, and we should trust it without question. But, in reality, what we often call instinct may be less about true compatibility and more about emotional patterns we learned long ago. Whether we grew up in a loving, supportive environment or one filled with tension, distance, or inconsistency, these early experiences shape our understanding of love. As adults, we unconsciously seek out partners who reflect those familiar dynamics, no matter how healthy or unhealthy they might be. But what if those feelings we trust so much are actually leading us astray? What if they are pulling us toward partners who, instead of fulfilling our needs, trigger unresolved emotions from the past? The instant connection, the butterflies in the stomach, the thrill of the chase, these might not be signs of genuine love but rather echoes of childhood dynamics replaying themselves in our adult lives. This is where self-awareness becomes crucial. If we continue to follow our instincts without reflecting on where they come from, we may find ourselves trapped in a cycle of choosing people who don't align with our emotional needs or long-term happiness. Why do we keep choosing people who aren't good for us? It's not because we want to suffer or because we don't recognize the value of a healthy relationship. It's because, unconsciously, we are drawn to what feels familiar, even if that familiarity is rooted in emotional turbulence or conflict. The comfort we find in chaos or instability can feel oddly reassuring, even though it's ultimately detrimental to our well-being. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how you're attracted to people who mirror the emotional environment you grew up in? If love in your early years was inconsistent or filled with emotional highs and lows, you might be drawn to people who evoke those same feelings. You're not seeking pain. Rather, you are seeking what feels known, what fits the emotional blueprint you've been carrying for years. This is why relationships that are calm, stable, and healthy can sometimes feel foreign or even boring. The first step toward choosing better partners is recognizing these unconscious patterns. Self-awareness allows us to step back and ask ourselves, what kind of people am I drawn to, and do they, in some way, remind me of my early relationships with my parents or caregivers? Are the emotional dynamics I'm experiencing now repeating old, unresolved patterns? We might think we know exactly what we want in a partner, but often, our desires are shaped by hidden emotional needs we haven't fully confronted. Reflect on your past relationships. What attracted you to your partners? Were there patterns that emerged repeatedly? Perhaps you were drawn to emotionally unavailable people, or maybe you consistently found yourself in relationships where you felt the need to fix the other person. These are clues to the deeper emotional scripts running beneath the surface. However, this doesn't mean we are doomed to repeat these patterns forever. The beauty of self-awareness is that it gives us the power to change. Once we understand why we're drawn to certain types of people, we can begin to make more conscious choices. Instead of blindly following instinct or attraction, we can start choosing partners who align with our values, meet our emotional needs, and support our long-term goals. Even if these choices initially feel unfamiliar or uncomfortable, they are the foundation for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Building conscious relationships means moving away from the notion that love is supposed to be an overwhelming force or an emotional roller coaster. Instead, we can begin to see love as a space of growth, security, and mutual support. Healthy love doesn't need to feel like a drama-filled romance movie. It doesn't have to come with grand gestures, emotional turmoil, or constant uncertainty. Real love is about consistency, respect, and emotional connection. It's about feeling safe enough to be vulnerable, to share your true self without fear of judgment or rejection. When we choose partners based on conscious decisions rather than emotional habits, we allow space for relationships that help us grow, relationships that nurture our emotional health and support our personal development. We no longer have to seek out people who mirror our past traumas or make us feel like love is something we need to earn through conflict or sacrifice. Instead, we can choose partners who nurture us, support our growth, and offer us stability. Breaking the cycle of old relationship patterns isn't easy. It requires deep self-reflection, patience, and sometimes even professional guidance. But the rewards are immeasurable. When we become aware of our patterns, we can start creating healthier dynamics in our relationships. We can consciously choose partners who contribute to our emotional well-being rather than reinforcing unhealthy cycles. The next time you feel drawn to someone, take a moment to pause and reflect on what you're really feeling. Is it excitement born from a genuine connection? Or is it the pull of familiar emotional patterns that have led you down the wrong path before? By choosing relationships consciously, we open the door to deeper fulfillment. We can finally break free from the familiar trap of choosing the wrong partners and start building love that uplifts and empowers us. Love that feels safe, healthy, and true.